Hello, dear students. Welcome to What, Why, How, the daily initiative by IAS Baba, where we take up a current affair or an editorial and we declutter it in less than 10 minutes. The topic that I have chosen for today is regarding the border between India and Bangladesh. There have been articles spanning over at least a week or so that say about certain issues that India and Bangladesh are facing with respect to the border areas. So, in this particular session, what we're going to do is try to figure out what exactly is the issue, where exactly is the issue happening, and why is it happening. To start off with, let's look at this over here. If you look at this map over here, you will see clearly that Bangladesh is a country that has a very extensive border with India. It has both land boundary and even a marine boundary. Now, this happens to be the longest border that India has with any other country. Together, in total, we have a kilometer of almost 4,096 kilometers of boundary between India and Bangladesh. Now, both countries, and when you have such a large border, both countries have been trying to ensure that this is a crime free border. There is not much movement of drug trafficking, there is not much movement of terrorist activities, etc. In fact, India has clearly stated that its commitment with respect to this border is to ensure a crime free border. Now, to ensure a crime free border, one of the first things that had to be done was to clearly demarcate the border. And once the border is demarcated, to do the fencing of the border. Fencing, in very clear terms, is to clearly mark using certain techniques that this is which part is which part, which nation's part, etc. Now when you look at this aspect, you will see that of the total boundary that we share with Bangladesh, only 78% of the boundary is actually fenced as of now. That means almost 3196 kilometer is only fenced. The rest of the kilometers that are there are still very porous. Porous in the sense that you can have movement of your people, you can have movement of your different kinds of activities, etc., that happen to be in this area. Now, for the all the parts that are there, especially the areas that are very porous, it is guarded by the six frontiers of the Border Security Force. So, the BSF of India from the Indian side has six frontier army stations. It's called as the Assam frontier, the Meghalaya frontier, Mizoram and Kachar frontier, Tripura frontier, North Bengal frontier, and the South Bengal frontier. In all of these areas is where you have the army also stationed. Now it begs to the question, why is it that we are still not able to completely fence this area? The reason being, see, we look into the reasons. First of all, understand, because this area is not fenced in a proper manner, there has been allegations of certain anti-national elements infiltrating into India, causing problems in the northeastern states. On the otherwise also, there have been so many allegations from Bangladesh side also that the Indian army is trying to enter into the Bangladesh territory. If this is so problematic, why haven't we fenced it? Now understand, the fencing actually started or took its roots from the 1975 joint India-Bangladesh guidelines for border authorities. According to this, several areas that are there currently are not properly fenced. Some of the areas are not fenced because you see you have a very challenging terrain in those areas, especially being that the border between India and Bangladesh have so many rivers crossing, small islands which are basically your silt islands that are caused by rivers, they are over there. On the whole, between your borders, when you look at it, it becomes very difficult to clearly demarcate it. For example, the South Bengal frontier, which is there, where only almost 44% is fenced. The reason why it's fenced is because there are so many silt islands in this area. Several other areas you will see that rivers like Patma, etc., are crossing through the border, and the river is actually considered as an international border. Apart from that, there are several habitations that are too close to the international border, which means that from both the sides, if there are houses, you have to take measures to rehabilitate the people before you have to demarcate the border. So the river and silt lands, the habitations, the terrain area that is over there, because of all this, the fencing is getting delayed. To add to it is where, as you know, last year the government in Bangladesh was usurped, they were thrown out, and there is a new government in place. So even that has led to a policy reversal by the border guards of Bangladesh. The border guards of Bangladesh had actually agreed on erecting fences, but are now not honoring their agreements that were made before August 2024. This again becomes a problematic thing when trying to fence the entire area. Now it goes without saying that the Bangladesh, it basically one two aspects that Bangladesh keeps saying as to why fencing is getting delayed from their end is because it cites the 1975 agreement that say restricts constructions within 150 yards of the border and highlights inconvenience to border residents. So they feel that if they are creating the border fence, then it will affect their population which is nearby, and this is not something that they want. Added to this, it also objects to the smart fencing that it is claiming that maybe if that is allowed and if it's done by India, somehow India might try to snoop over your Bangladesh territory, because smart fencing involves a lot of digital cameras, certain infrared sensors, several other aspects that can actually make the border safe. That is what India is trying to do, but Bangladesh feels that it can be used for snooping. And to at the end of all of this, but one thing both the countries agree is that, and was again reiterated in the land boundary agreement of 2015 between India and Bangladesh, that if your border issues have to be solved, you need diplomatic dialogue. Right now, what is happening is there are border issues that are happening, but it is primarily dealt at an army level. Mostly what happens is these issues in most cases escalate into bigger problems. So what happens is, if we have to make the India Bangladesh border safer and much less porous, we should start to have discussions in the diplomatic route very soon. I hope the issue's been decluttered. Until we meet again, take care and happy learning.